Hey class! This video, we are doing the math lesson from April 27th. What we're going to be doing today is drawing diagrams to help us understand fractions and solve fraction word problems. So make sure that you have a sharp pencil ready to go. Make sure that you have your math book with you. And if you would like to have maybe your whiteboard and your marker nearby, or if you would like to have a piece of scratch paper to do some extra little drawings on, that would be a great idea. Get those supplies and we will get started. All right, here we are. We are going to draw a diagram, we're going to learn the strategy, and we are going to do this page 587 together. We're also going to do page 588 together, and then all you have is these 5 problems here on page 589, and that's all you need to do for today. So let's go back and let's get started with this first problem. Anessa and a classmate have 8 insects in a jar. 4/8 of the insects are beetles. 1 is a firefly and the rest are crickets. What fraction of the insects are crickets? So we're just going to have to come back to this problem, and we'll probably have to read it a few times carefully so we can find the right amounts of insects to do our drawing. So step 1, it says, understand. What facts do you know? That's always a great first step with word problems, is you write down what do you already know. So we know that there are 8 insects. 1 is a what? Well, let's go back in the problem and read where it says 1 is a firefly. We know that. 4/8 are blank. Here it says 4/8 of the insects are beetles. The rest are what? The rest are crickets. Notice how it's written right here in your problem. You just have to read it carefully. Okay, we know what we know. What do we need to find? What is the question asking? What fraction of the insects are crickets? Okay, plan 2. I'm going to draw a diagram to solve this problem. So for step 2, we know that our strategy today is we're drawing a diagram. Perfect. So in step 3, we're going to draw that diagram and we are going to solve. All right, they want us to draw a figure that is divided into 8 equal parts, and they've actually drawn it here for us. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 equal parts. Now what you could do is, remember when we had our fraction strips and we drew our one whole like this? Do I still have 8 equal parts here? Yeah, absolutely. When you draw your diagram, you just need to make sure that you have the right number in your total and that you have equal sized parts. But we're going to go with what they have just because it's already written. Okay, draw a figure that's divided into 8 equal parts. Shade 4/8 of the figure for the beetles and label it with B. So I see here that they've shaded 4/8 with green. And we want to call all 4 of these beetles. Why? Because it said that 4/8 are beetles. That's what we know. Shade 1 part for the firefly. And here I see they shaded it with blue. And write an F for firefly. Now, I didn't shade anything in these last few parts. What could that mean? What's left? What is the only insect we haven't named? Right, the crickets. So, how many of the insects are crickets? 1, 2, 3. I'm going to put a C in there for cricket. 3 out of my total 8 insects are crickets. Great. And again, we could do the same thing by using this straight across bar fraction. Check. Does my answer make sense? Explain. So they want us to say, does 4 beetles plus 1 firefly plus 3 crickets equal 8 bugs? 4 plus 1 is 5. 5 plus 3 is 8. Yes, that makes sense. So for this bottom part where it says, does your answer make sense? Explain. If you write out your total and your answer, you can erase that question mark because we got it. This is what it means when it says to explain, okay? All right, moving on. Time for the next one. We're practicing our strategy. Oh my, look at that dog and that cat and that bird. 6 students brought their pet to school on pet day. 3 of the pets were dogs and 1/6 were cats. The rest of the pets were birds. What fraction of the pets were birds? So let's find out what we know. That's the step 1. What do we know? Well, how many total pets do we have? 6 students, so that would be 6 pets. Good. What else do we know? 3 pets were dogs. Put a comma. We know that we have 3 dogs. And 1 out of 6 were cats. So we know we have 1 cat. And what else does it say? The rest of the pets were birds. So on the next line, I'll put the rest are birds. Good. What do I need to find? What's my question? What fraction of the pets were birds? What do we need to find? Number of birds. Good. All right. Number 2, what am I going to do for my plan? I'm going to draw a picture, and that's going to help me solve. So in number 3, look, they give me a nice big space where I can draw my diagram. Okay, we want to draw a whole with how many parts? Well, what's my whole, my total number? 6. I'm going to draw a diagram. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it does have to be neat. Okay, here's my diagram. My boxes are all about the same size. That one's a little bit bigger. But I have 6 parts. Fantastic. Now we're going to use the rest of the information that we know to complete our diagram. I know that there are 3 dogs. So I'm going to write the letter D in 3 of these boxes. Fantastic. What's next? 1 cat. So I'm going to put a C for cat in this box. What else do I know? That the rest are birds. And we're trying to find the number of birds. Friends, how many pieces are left? There are 2 pieces left out of how many? 6. So we have, this one's a bird. This one's a bird. What fraction of the pets were birds? 2 out of 6 were birds. Does our answer make sense? Explain. Okay, let's check back on our diagram. If I have 3 dogs plus 1 cat plus 2 birds, does that give me a total of 6 pets that we started with? 3 plus 1 is 4. 4 plus 2 is 6 pets. Yes, it works. So we drew our diagram, we wrote down the facts that we knew, and we checked it. We can do this. You are going to do the very same thing here 1, 2, 3, and 4 are going to be a lot like these problems that we did together. You can draw your diagrams here, or I would really recommend getting scratch paper, or I could have my whiteboard here that I could use. Draw out your diagrams. It's going to help you a lot. You're going to find the fractions that it's asking. Okay, number 5. This one's a little bit tricky, and here's what I would like you to do. It says that Joel washed 1/2 of the desks and Tyrell washed 3/4 of the desks. Who washed more? Okay, that's a little bit tricky, but if you get out your bag of fraction tiles, you can actually compare the sizes of 1/2 and 3/4 and tell me which one's bigger. And for explain, you can just say I used my fraction tiles. So work hard on this today. Let me know if you have any questions. You are doing a great job. Go Dolphins.